Hello, everybody. My name is Fernando Avila, and I'm a math teacher at Locke High School.
And my name is Ted Spater. I'm a history teacher at Leadership.
The goal of this presentation is to empower teachers and counselors with a more informed way to evaluate our compensation. Salary alone does not tell the full story. When contract days differ, total pay can mask the actual value of our labor. That's why we're focusing on the daily rate, which is the clearest measure of what we earn for each day of professional work and the standard used in formal compensation analysis by the Public Employment Relations Board, PERB. By comparing our daily rate to regional averages, we can determine whether we've achieved true parity with districts doing the same job. If this presentation is successful, every member should leave prepared to ask one simple question about any proposal. Where does this put our daily rate compared to our peers?
So let's start by defining what a daily rate is, how it's calculated, and why it matters for the purpose of compensation analysis. Simply put, your daily rate is just your salary divided by the number of days you work per year. It is the most valuable metric we have when comparing ourselves to other districts because it factors in both salary as well as the number of days you are required to work and puts them into a single clean number so you can accurately compare what you make to a teacher or counselor at a school down the street. This is also a calculation conducted by PERB and is one of their guiding criteria when it comes to making decisions and recommendations.
We encourage you to pause on this slide so you could take a glance at the 13 districts involved in our analysis. We'd like to note that at 193 days, Green Dot sits at the extreme high end of work requirements for unionized educators in Southern California. On this slide, we took salary and work year data for teachers and counselors at year 10, column 6, on the Green Dot scale, as well as the equivalent for other districts and compared them. We have ranked them here by daily rates, and you can see that Green Dot Public Schools ranks at number 12 out of 13 for daily rate. However, as you will soon see, this gap does not only exist at this career milestone. We think it's absolutely achievable to fight for an average daily rate in line with our regional peers. We are not below average teachers and counselors. The next 4 slides are going to show 4 different career milestones: a year 1 teacher counselor, a year 5 teacher counselor, year 10, and a top end of the scale veteran teacher and counselor.
And so here we can see the comparison for a new teacher at year 1, column 1 on the salary scale. We compiled data from the 12 other schools looking at salary, work year, and using those numbers, we came up with an average difference in days, daily rate, and real salary. What we mean by real salary is the difference in flat salary plus the value of the daily rate for the extra days we worked. So our year 1 teachers and counselors make around $40.24 less per day, which adds up to a real salary gap of around $7,766.32 compared to the regional average.
The trend continues into year 5. And using the same methods, we can see that by year 5, the daily rate gap becomes $73.69, which means the real salary gap for a teacher becomes more than $14,000.
And as we go back to our year 10 data using the same methods, we can see the gap in our daily rate remains high, more than $60 a day, while the real salary gap that exists is still more than $12,000.
And finally, let's look at the effect at the top of the scale. Using the same methods as before, we can see our daily rate gap remains hovering just under $40, leaving our most veteran teachers and counselors earning $7,665 less per year than our regional peers. As you can see, there are significant gaps at each stage of our careers on our current scale. This matters because these losses add up significantly over a lifetime.
Here we have taken data from the current salary scales of 3 of our regional peers and compared them to Green Dot scale to determine lifetime earnings based on current salary scales. For this, we assume 1 step and 1 column per year until a teacher maxes out on their respective scale. We think it's important to note that this does not include additional PD hours or the value of things like lifetime benefit packages offered by some other districts. The results show that over a 30-year career, a Green Dot teacher or counselor finds themselves out-earned by two of these three peers in terms of just flat salary, while working up to 330 days more. That is nearly 2 full school years worth of days. Once we factor in the extra days worked, we are out-earned by all three peers. None of these gaps is insignificant and results in the loss of hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. Choosing to work a career at Green Dot currently means an unconscionable loss of time and income.
We're now going to take a look at how Green Dot can address this gap. We will primarily focusing on year 10, column 6 data points for this analysis, first revisiting the gaps that exist and then exploring options to close them.
So the best pathway really to parity involves a combination of two things, a reduction in our work year and an increase in our salary. For every day Green Dot takes off our calendar, there is an effective increase to our daily rate. However, this gap is significant at all data points. As you will see on the next slide, even negotiating ourselves down to a 182-day work year would still require a 5.3% raise to achieve parity.
On this slide, we've mapped out all the possible workday options from our current 193 days down to the regional low of 182. If we were to remain at 193 contractual days, the year 10 teacher would still need a raise of 11.6% to achieve parity with our regional peers. Now, let's work our way down to our 182-day work year. Each day off effectively lowers the raise required to bring Green Dot in line with their peers. We find that even if we reduce our work year by 11 days, or just over 2 weeks, the 10-year teacher would still need a 5.3% pay raise to be compensated at an average daily rate. We invite you to pause here to review this chart in close detail.
We have also run this data at the previous levels of experience we explored earlier, year 1, 5, and 25 are equivalent. You can see that these salary gaps exist at every point on our current salary scale, with the exception of us getting our work year down to 182 days. But that only closes the gap for our most veteran teachers and counselors. We again would like you to take a moment to pause and review this data.
So, what does this mean for our negotiations? We believe this shows very clearly that Green Dot needs to make significant adjustments to salary and the number of work days per year in order to provide a fair contract that values the work of its teachers and counselors. The more days off the calendar Green Dot provides, the smaller the raise required to bring us to parity, which also gives them a strong financial incentive to be more flexible when it comes to negotiating these days off. This is how you create sustainability, longevity, and parity for our teachers and counselors.
One final but extreme important question remains. Can Green Dot afford this? We will be looking at their budget provided to AMU, and again, using our year 10, column 6 teacher baseline to provide a definitive answer to this question.
According to the data provided to AMU by Green Dot, the budget for the 25-26 school year is just over $59 million. The estimated actual spending is around $52 million. This year projects a gap of $7 million between what has been budgeted and actual projected spending. With that $7 million, Green Dot, even providing 8% raises, would still remain $2.84 million under their own budget estimates. Let's take a step further and look at the offers on the table.
For your reference, the regional average salary, contract days, and daily rate are provided at the bottom of this slide. First, let's look at AMU's proposal. AMU is proposing a 6-day work year reduction and a 5% raise, which for a year 10, column 6 teacher or counselor would be an effective daily rate of $562.92. and a flat raise of just over $5,000. Green Dot has offered 3 days off next year's calendar and a 2% raise. This would give that same teacher a daily rate of $538.21 and a flat raise of around $2,000. While neither of these proposals gets this teacher to the regional average, one gets us significantly closer, as we will further explore on the next slide.
Amu's proposal of a 187-day work year and a 5% raise gets teachers and counselors at this level within 3% in pay and within a few working days of their regional peers. A significant gain in ground and momentum going forward as we continue our fight for sustainability and longevity. Green Dot's proposal, in contrast, of a 190-day work year and a 2% raise leaves teachers and counselors at this level with a 7.8% gap in pay while keeping them working more days than any of their peers. This does not set us up for the future and is neither sustainable nor fair.
And so in conclusion, Green Dot's offer does not bring teachers and counselors into parity with our regional peers. It falls short on salary, daily rate, and keeps us working more days. And that is even before we start factoring in our additional professional development hours. By contrast, Amu's proposal is fair, affordable, and puts us on a real pathway to parity without requiring new budget adjustments beyond what Green Dot has already outlined.
Members, we appreciate your time and attention to this presentation. We look forward to your feedback, and we really hope to continue the fight for a pathway to parity for our salaries as AMU members.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.